viewers, you're watching the Explosive Exclusive with me and Navika Kumar, and once again viewers, we have accessed a letter, an email which talks about, in 3 words, a grave mortal threat to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's life. The letter has been accessed by Times Now's internal security editor Nikunj Garg. Navika, you have a copy of that letter. Before we go across to Nikunj, if you could just hold it up for some of our viewers and we can focus on it so that we can show you the details in that letter. It's been taken very, very seriously, Navika, by the NIA, and we have a situation where the letter and the threat has been authenticated, and several, in fact, intelligence agencies and those that are concerned with internal security have been alerted. Navika.
That's right. This is a secret letter, and under the Ministry of Home Affairs, the National Investigation Agency has written this letter. It's a letter that's been written on the 7th, or rather the 8th of August 2020. And it says NIA has received certain emails from an email ID, which is ylalwani12345, clearly a fake email ID at gmail.com, on the 8th of August 2020, threatening some dignitaries. Stroke agency. The contents of the email are self-explanatory and copies of email are enclosed. It is requested to take action as deemed appropriate. NIA has not done any inquiry verification on the matter. This issues with the approval, and this is the email. Clearly it is a message that has been sent ASAP before even trying to find out where it came from. And this right here is the instruction on the email from Y Lalwani, sent to info NIA Mumbai. So it comes to the Mumbai office of NIA at 1:34 at night, and it says, "Kill Narendra Modi." This is the 3-word message that comes, which is then escalated to the higher levels within the NIA, and then from the NIA it goes across to the Ministry of Home Affairs in the North Block, and it is brought to the notice of the Home Ministry, which in turn takes up the entire issue with the SPG, which is entrusted with the job of protecting the Prime Minister. Nikunj Garg has accessed this threat. This is really the big message. Kill Narendra Modi on the 8th of August 2020 when this comes out, and at the moment this is a matter of concern for all agencies. And Nikunj Garg joining us on the broadcast. Nikunj, you've accessed this letter. How high is the threat perception as far as SPG is concerned?
Well, Navika, the Special Protection Group now only guards the Prime Minister of this country. So any threat to the personage, to the personal safety and security of the Prime Minister being brought to their notice is always taken seriously. In this case, there is a unique dimension attached to it. The National Investigation Agency is not an intelligence agency. It's a law enforcement arm of the country. That is why the portion where you read that the National Investigation Agency has done no verification of its own on this threat is attached to it. But subsequently, the National Investigation Agency has roped in, as you noticed, the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Multi-Agency Coordination Center, the Government of India's nodal Multi-Agency Coordination Center, which has representatives from the Research and Analysis Wing, Intelligence Bureau, the Defense Intelligence Agencies, and all other relative intelligence gathering mechanisms. In the last 3 weeks, obviously, the Special Protection Group has also cautioned. Remember, the Prime Minister, where I'm standing right now at the North Block, opposite this, just meters away from here, is his office. He has not been frequenting his office as much as he is quite a regular Prime Minister to work. He almost used to come to his office at South Block every day, and fairly long hours he used to spend. So the transit and the time that the Prime Minister is at his South Block office is usually taken as the intelligence and the security agencies as the time when he is probably most vulnerable. Inside his house, obviously there is protection available, but remember, his house is on Lok Kalyan Marg, which is a bustling artery in the middle of the city, and almost always always on Lok Kalyan Marg there are traffic jams. It's protected outside, it's protected by air, but still there is an element which, of some kind of incident or accident. In the past, there have been instances outside Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's residence, which the Special Protection Group has taken very, very seriously. So this is a unique situation where a law enforcement agency has got a threat, and they are obviously trying to rope in all the intelligence arms of the country and the Ministry of Home Affairs so as to ensure that despite his curtailed movement due to the coronavirus pandemic, no threat comes to the personage or the personal safety of the Prime Minister. And we have to keep in mind that the Lok Kalyan Marg, the Prime Minister's residence itself, is also quite a sprawling complex. There have been in the past, it is not as if under the present security arrangement there has been no breach. In fact, once it so happened that 4 ladies in a car entered unauthorizedly despite SPG protection inside the Prime Minister's residence. So such incidents do rankle in the memory of the security agencies guarding the Prime Minister's residence, and that is why. And remember, in the recent history of this country, post Mrs. Indira Gandhi's death, no Prime Minister has faced the kind or the level of threat that Mr. Narendra Modi has faced, particularly from the Pakistan-sponsored elements and Islamic jihadi terrorist groups. Therefore, any threat to his personage or his personal safety and security can never be taken lightly. And this is also, in this particular case, a matter which the NIA has brought to the notice in a rather unusual move to the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Well, Nikunj, I want to ask you, any detailed investigation into where is the origin of this email from? Because this is an email from the 8th of August, and in the last 3 weeks, there must have been some investigation. So is there a specific threat from a specific region or a specific organization that the Prime Minister is facing, or is this a general advisory as of now?
Well, Navika, certainly not only the national investigation agencies, but agencies with a bigger wherewithal, bigger capability on this front have done their investigations in the last 3 weeks. And one aspect of that investigation is absolutely clear. We also have to keep in mind that when it comes to the Prime Minister's personal safety, agencies traditionally have been very coy, very cagey in commenting about it. The fact is that they know that there is a threat. They are carrying out their investigation. Some of the details under, promises of keeping it secret, they will share with us, but not most of them. So some of the details quite clearly are that these are
three-worded threat, very unusual. Nikunj, when we were speaking to you earlier, you mentioned and you also said that a threat perception has been carried out in the Ministry of Home Affairs in consultation with other intel agencies, and Times Now has accessed inputs on this threat perception arising out of elements based outside of India, and the acute rise of hate Modi politics, inciting assassins, emboldening assassins. Quite clearly, this is the inference that has been drawn.
Well, absolutely. And the fact remains that the assessment that has been shared with me, I mean, obviously, I cannot be privy to the entire comprehensive assessment because that will always be very closely guarded by the agencies who guard the Prime Minister's personage. And they will always want to ensure that, that they are able to block such elements from reaching the Prime Minister whenever and wherever his movement is. Therefore, that must remain the secret. But the assessment of the intelligence agencies is that these are Pakistan-backed elements not based inside Pakistan, based outside of Pakistan. Obviously, in the recent past, coming under the increasing international scrutiny and sanction from organizations like the Financial Action Task Force, Pakistan is very heavily and very secretively trying to ensure that there is huge amount of deniability in any of its action. And Rahul, this element that you mentioned, the hate Modi politics internally, can certainly never be disassociated from the Pakistani attempts, because Pakistan would only want somebody from India to pick a gun, to pick any kind of weapon and target Hindutva leaders, including the Prime Minister, because that actually feeds into their narrative that the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Imran Khan himself, has been trying to build on globally, saying that, this is a fascist government, this is a government which is suppressing its minorities, this is a government which has no respect for minority rights, etc., etc. So this is the ultimate attempt of Pakistan, and it would be Pakistan's and Pakistan-backed Islamist elements' dream come true if an Indian Muslim is a member of the Indian minority community, picks up any kind of weapon and uses it against any leader of Hindutva. Of course, Prime
I
Minister
just want
Narendra
to draw
Modi.
your attention to what Nikunj is saying. Now, Nikunj is taking off from a point, very coarse, invective-laden discourse has been projected at the Prime Minister over the last few months. I mean, it goes back, of course, to 2007 to the Maut Ka Saudagar remark by Sonia Gandhi. But since then, since he's become Prime Minister, let me just take you through some of these responses. Manishankar Ayyar in Shaheen Bagh said, let's see who's more powerful, we or the Qatil. Direct reference to the Prime Minister. Waris Pathan, improve, fall silent or we'll become violent. This was a complete and very direct attempt at inciting the minorities, and then tutored children at Shaheen Bagh. This was really shocking because
when they said
Hitler ki maut marega.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. So this is and Smriti Irani also went on record to condemn this kind of invective, which is obviously inciting and emboldening.
Absolutely, and it is this incitement, and it is personally targeting the Prime Minister, and that's been the bedrock of politics as we've seen it in recent months. Not just making him a pro-Hindutva face, but they're also trying to make him an absolute hate figure as far as minorities are concerned, despite the fact that all the schemes that have been put forth by the government have been schemes that are religion agnostic. They've taken care of every sector of the society, every class of the society, every religion of the society. Yet there is this attempt to somehow or the other vilify the Prime Minister in order to keep anger simmering in the minorities, and that seems to be the only politics that is going on in India, which then is getting some amount of resonance in organizations that have been funding these kind of activities in India. In any case, the ISI of Pakistan, backed by several various agencies abroad. Also, at the moment, the fact that India and China are not at the best of terms, and Pakistan is known to be some sort of a puppet in the hands of China. Who knows who is the puppeteer and who are the puppets at this point in time who want to target the Prime Minister, and that is something that India will need to sit back and think about.
Let's go to Nikunj. Just for 30 seconds, Nikunj, I want to bring you in on this. You said that this intel has been acted upon and there has been a enhanced security cover that has been necessitated by this. Can you just talk us through what steps are being taken to mitigate this threat, given the fact that the Prime Minister really hasn't been traveling over the last 4 or 5 months ever since the lockdown due to COVID?
Well, yes, that certainly reduces his vulnerability to the elements inimical to him, Rahul, but it completely does not eliminate it. The fact remains, as I said, he lives in a sprawling complex. That complex, many believe, is unbreachable, but that breach has happened on multiple occasions, including by a vehicle with at least 4 people sitting inside that vehicle. So quite clearly, security measures have been beefed up. The National Investigation Agency, after alerting the Ministry of Home Affairs, the SPG, the Special Protection Group that guards the Prime Minister's personage, has been cautioned. The Central Reserve Police Force and its other components called Special Deployment Group, the SDG, which guards the outer periphery of Prime Minister's residence, has also been enhanced in deployment terms, and men guarding the Prime Minister properly briefed. But then the entire attempt, Rahul, is that you have to somehow ensure that nobody is able to gain access, particularly unauthorized access to 7 local landmarks, and that's the whole attempt at this stage.
Well, that is at the moment the big story that we are bringing to you on Explosive Exclusive, and joining us this evening is Vishal Verma, political analyst, Shekhar Iyer, senior journalist, Ratan Sharda, author, Atikur Rahman, Islamic scholar, and Tausif Ur Rahman, political analyst. But first, coming across to you, Mr. Ratan Sharda. Mr. Ratan Sharda, are you surprised at all by this kind of a targeting of the Prime Minister, given the fact that politics at this point is built around making Narendra Modi as the hate figure for minorities, despite the fact that the government has taken several steps to reach minorities, reach the poor sections of the society across the board, not choosing anybody, selectively from these income groups. But the fact of the matter is, there is always an attempt to paint him as this pro-Hindutva leader and therefore being against the minorities, and that is the only politics that these political parties back in India seem to be capable of doing.
I'm not at all surprised, Navika, the way this campaign against Modi ji has been going on and on and on since 2002, knowing that worse riots had happened, knowing that no neighboring chief minister helped him when he went to the neighboring states to help him to quell the riots. And we also know that his schemes for the minorities are much better than ever by anybody. But since 2014, this has peaked. The Pakistanis and their cohorts, their jugalbandi with the local anti-Modi lobbies, is there for all to see. In every debate, every scheme for last 6 years, I have not found one person from the opposition ever praising even one step of Modi, whether it's financial, whether it's security, whatever it is. They joke about it, they ridicule. So the way the hate figure has been created is really pitiable. Now the point is that he's the only person who moves without any glasses around him. Even when the friendly people to terrorists were being protected by glasses around them when they came to Red Fort, Mr. Modi walks in proudly without a glass door. He's the one under which there is no terror attack except the troubled areas of Northeast and Naxal and the Jammu Kashmir area. There too, the violence is reduced.
That's an important point, Mr. Ratan Sharda. You're talking about the Maoists also who have targeted him. And I wanted to just say that it's not just Muslim minorities, but he's also been turned into an anti-Dalit and anti...
there is visible access, Mr. Rahul, between the ultra-red, ultra-green and the so-called white seculars. It's a gang of church, mullahs, Marxists, Marxists, everybody. It's
liberals.
Visible across the way.
And the so-called pseudo-liberals.
In your own channel, you'll find the same people. Even on SSR case, where there is no politics, you'll find the same people arraigned against you. That is the problem with the politics. It has become totally polarized. They are very frustrated. They could not do anything to him. They could not destroy the narrative. They could not stop progress. They could not stop their anti-terror activity. Stop this.
Shekhar Iyer, how are you looking at this? Ratan Sharda has painted a white canvas. How are you looking at this, sir?
Well, this threats cannot be taken lightly. Though there are groups which will not advertise, their plans before striking, but there are also groups who want to publicize and see how the authorities are responding. But the very fact that if you look at the social campaign against Modi, I mean, there are people wishing him death, people who are wishing him fall ill, or even when some very important leaders have fallen ill. You have seen how there are people who go on the Twitter and say that, may this person die. So you can see that kind of hate mentality that is all around. And also, just as Navika pointed out at the beginning of this program, that they are just not these...
Okay, few problems.
We seem to have lost that audio line with Shekhar Iyer. Let me get in Tausif Ur Rahman at this point. And Tausif Ur Rahman, I want to ask you, you've been shaking your head. You don't agree with this, that there is a hate campaign within India? And within India, if a country looks divided, it's easy for your enemy to access, to target people, and then blame it back on you yourself. Your divisions within your own society, within your own country, for what has really transpired. Tausif?
Capacity to instigate all the Indians. you know. And when it's about instigate, you have to understand who is instigating the minority Muslims. The minority Muslims are instigated by Indians itself. Now, I don't want to name them, but when you want to say that is the PM bias towards the minority, I will say yes. There are hundreds of proofs that the PM is only concerned about the 80% and is not concerned about the 20%. Though he have lot of nice opinions, he is providing a lot of schemes, but those schemes are not coming to the minorities. End of the day, the matter, the word instigate is coming from BJP itself. You see that Hyderabad MLA, when he says that unko rape karo, unko rape karne ke baad unke ghar mein ek bachcha paida nahi hona chahiye. So this kind of
hold your thoughts, hold your thoughts, Tausifur Rahman. We have breaking news coming in. The Prime Minister is likely to address the nation tonight at 9 p.m. Approximately, and that is the latest information that we are getting at this point in time. The Prime Minister likely to address the nation at 9 p.m. tonight. If the desk is listening to me, can we put out that breaking bit of news that's coming in? The Prime Minister likely to address the nation at 9 p.m. tonight. That is the latest that we are getting from our sources in the government. And this big breaking news coming in. Rahul, what do you think it's going to be about? Is it going to be about the border challenge that we are facing along the line of actual control with China? Is it going to be about the COVID situation? And once again, a reminder of the steps we need to take in terms of prevention of spread of COVID, given the fact that 83,000 people have taken ill in just one day across the country.
I think, Navika,
what are you going?
Most likely to be the latter, or perhaps maybe something to do with economic revival. The Prime Minister has been very careful about picking up cudgels against China. From his usual TV appearances, he sent a very stern message to China, both, of course, when he went to Leh, and then, of course, even from the ramparts of the Red Fort on Independence Day. So the Prime Minister, I don't think, will be taking on China. I'll be very, very surprised unless there is some dramatic, very dramatic announcement to be made. But certainly, Navika, I think
what we are being given to understand, it is the US-India Strategic and Partnership Forum where he's likely to make that address. And in this strategic partnership forum, clearly the Prime Minister is likely to put out India's strategic concerns, whether
absolutely. And also, of course, Navika, on the steps that India has taken under him to make the country extremely open to individuals who really have India's interests in mind and at heart. So I think
clearly he's going to talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat,
yes,
and the economic steps that need to be taken by India strategically, given the fact that there are challenges on the geopolitical fora across the world. On the other hand, he's also likely to speak about terror and expansionist policies that have been adopted by a few countries. Clearly, without mentioning China, he could make a reference to that. So we are getting that information that address of the Prime Minister at the US-India Strategic and Partnership Forum, it is going to be a message of sorts, given the fact that Pakistan has tried at the United Nations and now China in the way it is engaged with India along the LAC. This strategic partnership with the United States of America would really be something that the world is going to sit back. Definitely China would, because China Foreign Minister has just a little while ago said that the 118 apps that have been banned by India, Chinese apps that have been banned, are they being done in tandem with the United States of America? The Foreign Minister has also expected some restraint that India does not align itself completely with the United States of America and have an independent relationship with China.
Has been extremely supportive, along with France as well as Great Britain, in recent 3 months, ever since the standoff in Ladakh, Navika. So obviously, very important strategic communication. We'll have to listen in to the Prime Minister because the exact wordings that we are getting are that he will be navigating or expressing his views on navigating new challenges. Now, obviously, those are based out of the COVID epidemic, Navika, to India's economy, and also, of course, the geostrategic environment in Asia on the account of an expansionist China. He's talked about the expansionist designs of Chinese, and he said those that have historically been expansionist have actually come to regret that strategic outlook because it is proven to be counterproductive. So, Navika, that will be a very interesting address.
And he's going to be in conversation with Michael Pence, the Vice President of the United States of America, and this is going to be an engaging conversation because this conversation is likely to throw light on what kind of strategic steps that India is going to be taking, especially at a time when the world clearly is talking about the American elections that are coming up. Will the Prime Minister be backing or really looking forward to just the return of Trump? Is he going to be making a more balanced approach to the United States of America? And when America is preoccupied with its own elections, how does India plan to deal with the confrontation situation that it is having with China, the stalemate diplomatically, and of course the military positions getting more aggressive in recent times. So it's going to be an interesting time to watch out at 9 p.m. this evening when the Prime Minister of India is going to be in conversation with Michael Pence, Vice President of the United States of America, and speaking on both strategic and global participation with the United States of America.
Absolutely. And Navika, just before we take the break, let's quickly go back to the top of the show. The big story that we were reporting, of course, is very clearly about a 3-word threat to the Prime Minister, the Kill Modi plot letter accessed by Times Now. Alarm bells ringing across the security establishment. Nikunj Garg breaking that story. More details coming up after this short break. Stay with us.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we were breaking the big story about the threat perception for the Prime Minister just going up several notches with an unknown email landing on the NIA's email account in Mumbai, and NIA has now escalated this matter to the topmost echelons of the security agencies through the Ministry of Home Affairs. Let's go back to our panelists this evening. Atikur Rahman, I want to ask you, and this was the question where we left off this debate earlier on, and the question really is the divisive politics which forces several political parties to attack the Prime Minister, and it's not just on minority issues, and it is not just the minorities who are doing this. There is a so-called secular brigade, there is a so-called liberal brigade, there is a so-called minority brigade. Each one of them uses opportunities to target the Prime Minister, and this hate campaign against the Prime Minister gives an additional opportunity to enemies abroad to target the Prime Minister and make it look like something happened within the country.
Navikati, it's too much echoing if that can be corrected. Now, I have not lost any opportunity on any of the television debates saying that we minorities and the government of India, whatever the differences are, it's our internal matter. The august position of the Prime Minister is intact. Our demands will continue, which is our constitutional right. Now, what I think, Navika ji, is we are so obsessed with the communal politics and the communal agenda of the RSS-led government that whatever comes to the Prime Minister's office like this threat, we assume and try to assume that it is a threat from Pakistan or the Muslim elements. Why not China? which is day in and day out coming on the streets of our country. Why are you giving concessions to that dragon? I don't understand.
Speaking about
Why are you
Atikur
not
Rahman
naming
making no
this
sense.
enemy
You are making no
which is
sense. Before the break,
threatening every
we
hour
had
to our
Tawseefur
Indian
Rahman who
border.
says that the Muslims are discriminated in this country. None of the various facilities or schemes that are launched reach them. There is perhaps even deliberate denial. I mean, come on. What lengths are we going to go to try and justify a death threat to our Prime Minister? I mean, we are not talking about... Come on, let's not do this.
A Garib Kalyan Yojana, does it say that it will be given only to a Hindu and it will not be given to a Muslim? Does the Jan Dhan Yojana go only to a Hindu and not to a Muslim?
No,
What
this
are you
is a
saying?
separatist mindset, Navika. This is a separatist mindset where they try to suggest that at the time of delivery, people look at your surname and they deny you. This is not the way. Is this the way? Is this the way? Mr. Shekhar Iyer, is this the way? The BJP spokesperson is also with us. Vishal Sharma is here with us. Vishal Sharma, is this the way?
It is certainly not the way. But Tawfiq's nonsense and rubbish highlight a greater malice. You know, you can change the roads, you can bring Ujjwala Yojana, but how can you change the hearts of people like Tawfiq? It's a challenge that remains. You know, Narendra Modi is a very unique leader, and we are in the month of September. September happens to be his birth month. And you know, the 133 crore people of India pray for his long life, good health and well-being. It saddens us terribly that there is a kill Modi agenda that is exported. You know, the question arises, Modi has increased India's relationship with the Arabs, not Muslims. It is only the beneficiaries of the pseudo-secular politics in India that seek to keep the Muslims under a perpetual Islam khatre mein hai bogi, who wants Modi out. It is very sad that theirs and Pakistan's agenda matches, and that is why we find them speaking the same language. Narendra Modi is not anti-minority. Let us not even get into the minority versus majority binary. Modi is not anti-anybody. He's pro-everyone. He's pro-India, pro-youth, pro-neighborhood.
No, sir.
Wasn't it Narendra Modi?
It is too late.
You're shaking your head. You're shaking your head as if something very wrong is being stated by Vishal Sharma. I want to ask you, Tawseefur Rahman.
Of course.
If 303 seats have been won by Modi, if that is the margin that Modi has got, in a country where for the last 30 years we haven't seen a majority government by one single party. Here, the BJP got it in 2014 when Modi was leading it, and in 2019 with Modi leading it. I want to ask you, did that happen without the minority support? Or don't you think Muslim women supporting Modi are Muslim, support coming in at all? Don't you think Dalit women would have voted for him? Don't you think young people would have voted for him? Old people would have voted for him? So what is the narrative that you want to set up?
Ma'am, every woman wearing a burqa is not a Muslim behind that. You know that. People are making a propaganda out of that burqa as well. And you know, those inside the burqa are not Muslim. Now, if you want to set the vote sharing of the minority, I'm very much sure that the minority has not given the vote to Prime Minister Narendra Modi because of many facts. And we are not
37.36% of the vote was won by the BJP alone.
Sir, please let me complete.
Now, are you going to tell me that is only the Hindu upper caste vote, which you know is not even that much? So what are you talking about?
Let me complete.
It would have to be a component of Dalits. What are you
What
completing?
do you want to complete? If I can ask our research team to just pick out how many percentage of minorities voted for the BJP in 2019, we'll tell you the figure. And these are documented figures. The surveys are available. There is a breakup that is available. Clearly.
Tell me something. Democracy is left in India. Muslims are dying in India. Muslims are not getting any
and
justice.
Hindus are not dying, and only Muslims are dying. You know, Shekhar Iyer, it is this vitriolic, poisonous hate that is dividing India. Clearly it is a mindset, it's a narrative that is trying to be said, which clearly doesn't cut any ice with the people of India. Shekhar Iyer.
You see, whenever there is a threat perception to the Prime Minister Modi, why should it be seen in the way the kind of arguments that are being given? The fact remains today that he is a person who faces the high.
Okay, we're having problems with your audio, sir. Problems with your audio. I think you might have muted yourself. But the fact of the matter is, viewers, there is a credible threat to the Prime Minister's life. And this has been evaluated by the NIA. If it was not a credible threat, and let's try to go across to Nikunj, if it hadn't been assessed to be a credible threat, we would not have been seeing a expansion of the security rubric around the Prime Minister. Nikunj, just update us on the threat perception, what you are being informed of, especially after you've broken this story with the documents.
Well, Rahul, the fact remains that the National Investigation Agency has done its own investigation in the last 3 weeks and then passed it on to the Multi-Agency Coordination Center. Now, the Multi-Agency Coordination Center was not set up by the BJP government. It was set up under Mr. Chidambaram, under the UPA 2, once Mumbai 2611 took place. It is the apex intelligence assessment body. If the NIA or any other law enforcement arm is not convinced of the gravity of the threat, they will not pass it on to the MAC. If the MAC is not convinced with the gravity of the threat behind the email or behind any kind of threat emanating, they will not further circulate it. If it is being done, and the Special Protection Group, the apex security protection element in this country as far as personal security is concerned, is being sensitized, the Special Deployment Group at the Prime Minister's residence is being strengthened, then quite clearly all those agencies cannot be on the right track. I am saying all of this on national television. The documents are for our viewers to see. The Ministry of Home Affairs, I'm standing outside. If they do not, agree or concur with what I'm saying, they can certainly send a denial. None of that has happened in the last 40 minutes or so. Quite clearly, there is an element of seriousness to this threat. Quite clearly, the government of India does not want to speak beyond a certain point, and that is why I said I can only be party or privy to the assessment up to a certain point. I will not be allowed to breach certain barriers when it comes to the security and safety of some VVIPs in the country. Prime Minister heading that list. Quite clearly, whatever we had with us in terms of the documentary evidence and the assessment of the various intelligence agencies, we have put out for our viewers to see and assess. Our only attempt is that the viewers must know that there's a live, clear and present danger to the safety and security of certain top leaders, and they should not fall prey to any of these beguiling attempts from certain lobbies that are on most occasions backed by elements inimical to this country's interests and not the interests of BJP or the political leadership of this country.
Absolutely. And let me inform Mr. Atikur Rahman. Mr. Atikur Rahman, in 2009, there were 4% Muslims who were supporting the BJP. In 2014, this number doubled to 9%, more than doubled to 9%. And that is when Prime Minister Modi was leading the BJP. So how can you put out your prognosis that minorities hate Modi?
And I'm looking through more statistics. A pre-poll survey by CSDS Lokniti said that 26% Muslims are in favor of the Modi government. This is also published. It is all there for you to see. No, 1 second. So I'm asking you, Mr. Atikur Rahman, Mr. Modi has been given awards by Muslim majority governments, Islamic governments in the Gulf. How is this? Has he been given these awards for attacking Muslims here in India? And I want to bring you in also, Tawseefur Rahman, if you can hear me. Explain this.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Why would they be giving awards? The highest awards of their lands.
They had no idea.
No, what do you mean no idea?
They had no idea about the reality.
Oh, really?
So the Gulf had no idea about the reality.
So you mean to say that Pakistan is not doing its job by informing the OIC, which they have? They've even moved motions which have been defeated by the OIC.
Indian government got backfire from Dubai.
Don't be a sophist.
Of the Gulf, sir.
Don't be a sophist on the show. Don't be a sophist on the show. You cannot deny every reality and brush it off as false propaganda. Please. It's not possible.
Sir, it
we
is
cannot
not
have a
about
debate
denial,
if
sir.
you refuse to.
You know-
if you refuse to be reasonable. If you
No,
if
sir,
you
I
want to
am being
negate
reasonable
every
to you
fact,
and I
then that's a
every
different
opinion
matter.
What you have.
Anyhow,
And
let me just bring in
you are- you,
Vishal
sir-
Sharma. Vishal Sharma, would you like to respond to Tawseefur Rahman on this?
You know, Mr. Tawseefur Rahman does not want to listen to any logic. He has closed the windows of his mind. But I would like to raise a larger question. Why targeting Modi is so important to the anti-India agenda makers, whether these people are politicians or they are, media panelists or they are foreign powers. Why the personality of Narendra Modi antagonizes them so much when Modi himself lives a very frugal lifestyle, he's dead honest, doesn't believe in nepotism, works 18 hours a day, and his schemes like Ujjwala has brought in the gas cylinder into the houses of the poorest of the poor women, Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs and Christians across the religious spectrum, where he has introduced, basic life insurance, health insurance, made 10 crore toilets to give dignity to women. And those women, my friend, those women also say Jai Shri Ram, and those women also say Allahu Akbar. Those toilets, those houses that Modi government has made, it has never discriminated.
Have you
In
counted
fact,
those toilets?
Modi's
10 crore
relationship with the Arabs
do you have any calculation of gas
India's
subsidies?
relationship
Do
under
you have
Prime Minister
any
Modi with the Arabs is the
reaching to the
closest
villages?
ever.
Or it is
And
just-
Pakistan has been sidelined. I just appeal to my friend Mr. Tawseefur Rahman, kindly open your
Sir,
heart,
sir,
open
you
your
want
heart
to tag me
facts,
as
and let's
anti-national,
not
you are
carry
most
on with
welcome to
hate
tag me
Modi
as
agenda.
anti-national.
This Mosque
You are- I have
Sadagar
nothing to
narrative,
do with
it
you.
does not
And
do
I have no
us well,
hatred
it
towards
does not
anyone.
do you well,
But sir,
it does
what the
not do
minorities are
India well.
facing in India
Narendra
right
Modi
now,
is an
it is a bizarre
iconic Prime
situation,
Minister that
and
this
you
country
cannot
has
hide it,
got.
sir.
And Tawseefur Rahman,
You cannot hide it.
all the people should
Now the whole
understand
world
and
knows
fall in
this is why
line.
you people-
No, Mr. Rahman, what are you trying to say here? That the plot against Mr. Modi is justified? Is that what you're trying to suggest? Is that the takeaway from all of this? Just tell me, yes or no. Can't you even bring yourself to condemn this?
And let me give you another number. There are 65 seats across 12 states and 2 union territories that have over 25% Muslim population. The BJP won nearly 37% of these seats. You think that happened without the minority support? Atikur Rahman and Tawseef?
Navika ji, if you want to ask me, you want to condemn about the threat, I would like to confess that I will be in front of Narendra Modi before anyone's hit him or anyone's attack him.
So
But
then there
when
should
when
be
you
no
talk
debate.
about the minority
All we were
and
looking
the
for-
justice of minority,
Intu parantu,
trust me, we
yeah,
have
you
no
know,
justice.
but-
People have died in this regime and they have been killed brutally. You can't deny that, Rahul sir. You know that. You have done many reports.
Mr. Rahman, it's not as if, and this is the tragedy of India, it's not as if there have been no communal riots and incidences under the Congress or under other governments which have nothing to do with
Sir,
the
who is
BJP.
instigating,
Let's
sir?
be honest about that
Who is
also.
instigating?
I mean, who was in
MLA
power?
like
I want to
MLA
ask you,
like from
sir,
Hyderabad.
when there was a genocide in Kashmir against Hindus, who was in power? When there was a genocide against Sikhs in Delhi, who was in power? Do you remember?
Sir, I'm
Do you
not
remember?
favoring Congress, sir.
Do you
Sir,
remember?
I'm not favoring Congress.
Well, there you go.
I'm not here
So,
for
you know,
Congress.
so
But
don't
sir,
try to
sir,
single
So
out.
Tawseefur Rahman, you
Sir,
have to
और
choose.
कितना सही
You
है
have to
कश्मीर
choose
से
what
लेकर
exists in
कन्याकुमारी
this
तक
country.
40
You
से
have to
लेकर
choose out
हिमाचल
of what
प्रदेश तक.
exists in this country.
Sir, how much we want you to control?
You know, every
Sir, how much
political
you want us
party,
to be
every
sacrificed
political
our
party
life?
has its own
Just because
own
we
dark
have a label
spots.
that the minorities of India.
Listen,
we have a
listen,
label
okay.
forehead.
You know, I'm not
that
going
we
to
are
get
the
into
Muslims
this,
of
Tutu
India,
Meme.
and you
The
have the
fact
right
of
to
the
beat
matter
us.
is, viewers, that there are enough reasons for us to begin to call into question the kind of politics that we are witnessing around us. Unvarnished hate directed at some of our national leaders. And I'm not saying that this is not coming in the reverse direction either. But the fact of the matter is, it is all leading to a legitimization of what many people are now beginning to see is a violence that has no place in a fully functional democracy. I think at least all of us as civilized individuals can agree upon that. Big revelations coming in, Navika. More chats between Riya Chakravarti this time.
And Shauvik about Bud about doobies, and these chats are from March 2020. Now they're talking about these chats, and these chats are talking about the fact that somebody needs supplies of 4 doobies on a single day. Who this someone is not spelled out. It could be anybody, a friend of Ria herself, or who the he really refers to, we don't quite know. But these sensational drug chats clearly show that Ria and Souvik were talking about drugs, and drugs to be reached to some he that they refer to, and Souvik is asking the exact definition of the drug that is required, whether it's bud or whether it's some other kind of a drug that is required. They talk about 5 grams for 20,000 rupees or something like that. And
I believe Pranesh is there with us in the news page.
Pranesh joining us in the news page. And Pranesh, what do these chats really tell us?
Rahul, Navika, in the first part of the drug disclosure, we had Ria Chakrabarti chatting with alleged peddlers like Gaurav Arya. There were others like Jaya Saha, Samuel Miranda, and Souvik's name was mentioned in the chat. There was no direct conversation between Ria and Souvik or other people. In the second part, Times Now told our viewers about Souvik Chakrabarti talking directly to the peddlers. And this is the third part, and this links the two. This is Ria Chakrabarti talking directly to Souvik Chakrabarti, and about what? About the drugs. This is Ria. She says, yes, please. He smokes 4 a day, so plan accordingly. Now, this reminds me of the message that Souvik had sent to the drug peddler where he was talking about his dad. I need it for my dad. Is this he, Souvik's and Ria's dad? Is he talking about Mr. Chakrabarti? We don't know. Then, yes, Bud also. So, after the message, Souvik says, and Bud, does he want Bud? This is Souvik's message. Ria says, yes, Bud also. Then Souvik says, okay, so we can get 5 grams of Bud. That's about 20 doobs. This is the conversation, and this also, like all the other chats, was deleted. Now has been recovered by the agencies, and Times Now has accessed this.
Well, it's also clear that this this whole drug cartel and the web of drug suppliers is really getting absolutely intense. Siddhant Mishra joining me live from Mumbai. Siddhant, the Narcotics Control Bureau is in the picture. Souvik is likely to present himself before the Narcotics Control Bureau, and now these chats between Ria and Souvik coming up. How is it going to impact the entire drug network that we've been seeing over the last few days?
Well, you see, Navika, that's right. We've been confirmed that on Saturday, Souvik and Samuel Miranda are likely to get summoned by Narcotics Control Bureau. Now, the fact is, Navika, before beginning, I would like to clarify that we have accessed these chats from a very reliable sources in agencies. At the same time, we have verified these 2 numbers present on the chat. Why I'm saying this, Navika? Because today only the petition has been filed in Bombay High Court, questioning the media reports, questioning the way media is functioning. So this is for all of them that we do due diligence before putting out evidences for our viewers. And these chats are significant because for the first time we are putting out chats between Ria Chakrabarti and Souvik Chakrabarti. Now you see, Ria in these chats is referring to somebody and she's saying that that person needs Bud. Now she's not mentioning who she is talking about, and Souvik is replying in the same manner, saying talking about 20 doobies. So these are a sensational chats that we have accessed, and based on these chats, again, we've been told that Souvik and Samuel...
This closes the loop very, very big. Yes, now Ria Chakrabarti is going to have problems trying to distance herself from what clearly is an attempt at procuring narcotics. Navika.
And procuring for somebody. Procuring for somebody, and that is something surely the investigating agencies are going to be talking about. In the past, it was the chats between Jaya Saha, Ria, which seemed to be giving some sort of drug concoction to Sushant Singh Rajput, and even the dosage was being decided by Jaya Saha and advised to Ria Chakrabarti.
Yeah.
And now this conversation, which clearly talks about procuring drugs through Shouvik Chakrabarti for somebody. Who this somebody was is clearly going to be something that the investigators will have to look at. Well, that's all we have for you tonight on Explosive Exclusive. We'll continue to follow the Sushant Singh Rajput justice story. Nobody is going to be able to gag Times now in our quest for the truth. And on the other side, the life attempt on Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the warning that's come out. Clearly a matter of concern which intelligence agencies and security agencies are focused on.